Good evening and welcome to an Elite FPL video with myself, Stevo, where I thought I'd just, do a video about this weekend and essentially the goings on and some other dark subject matters, which I'm sure most people won't give a shit about. Oops, there's the first swear word, that's demonetised us, but this won't be monetised, so it doesn't matter. And just another one as well, is that this isn't the evening, 7 o'clock in the morning, but you guys are seeing this now. So, essentially, this weekend was, from a fantasy football perspective, a complete nightmare. So, I've been away on holiday for 4 days. I was supposed to be going away for upwards of a week and a half. But due to some podcast appearances, non-FPL related, all wrestling, I decided just to come back home. And for me, like I keep banging on about, yeah, fantasy football is a hobby I take seriously. I've taken it seriously for the past, 10 years or so? But as I stated to Jason many years ago, or more to the point last year, anything that I participate in, I'm not going to lie, I take it a bit too seriously. And I try and invest a lot of time into it. And I always use Call of Duty as from 2 years ago, where I get to the point of where I'm quite literally smashing the controller. And it's like, Steve-O, you're a 30-year-old man and yet you're smashing a controller because you're pissed off that you didn't get the kill that you wanted. Yeah. And it's embarrassing. Now, a lot of this is all, like with any of our issues, are all deep-rooted into our childhood. I get it. But with Black Ops, for example, I was like, my goal was literally to, because I was doing really well at the game. So, essentially, they released I can't remember the map's name. It was like Rise or something on Black Ops, on this Black Ops game. Like I said, this was only I think it was 2 years ago. And I would just play it every single day because I loved the map. Because it was a re-release map from like Black Ops 1 or something, I don't know, whatever. And essentially, I was just winning every single team deathmatch, what's it called, kill confirmed, domination, war. I was just absolutely dominating it. I loved it. And I was upgrading one of the rocket launcher style grenade launcher weapons. And I was absolutely loving it. But because I was so focused on doing really well at the game, and because genuinely my rankings were just going up and up and up, especially on I think it was kill confirmed, because I actually go for objectives. You know, unlike most streamers that you see, they don't go for objectives, they're just, I want to get the kills. Yeah, but the flag's there, just get the flag. No, I can't, I just want to camp here and get the kills. Anyway, that's why they look so good. But the point being is that I go for objectives, and literally my ranking on, it was like, I was something like, I got to something, I started at like, say, I don't know, something like 3-4 millionth in the world. And the reason why I was checking the rankings is because I noticed that I was constantly winning every single match. And it got to a point where I was like at something like 800,000th. I'm thinking, what the fuck? What? I'm 800,000th at kill confirmed. Like, this is ridiculous. It was just getting to the point where like I was genuinely stressing over the game and I was wanting to play more and more and more and more and more. Which isn't healthy, by the way. It's not a good habit at all. And it was getting to the point, like I said, where I was just like getting so invested in the game that I was just like, literally, I must have I know for a fact I broke one controller. And the other one that I've got now is broken because of it, but it's still usable. Not that I play the PlayStation anymore, but I mean usable as in to watch YouTube. And the point I'm trying to get at is that I realised, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous. So I just essentially just got myself away from it, and I realised that actually it was benefiting my health and stuff. And going full circle with FPL, as Gabriel de Rop says, what has this got to do with FPL? Fuck all. Essentially, I got myself away from that, and with fantasy football, I take the game seriously, but I'm trying to play it so it doesn't affect my mental health, and there's a reason why I'm bringing this up in a minute. So, to continue with this FPL chat from the weekend, what happened? So, for anybody that is completely unaware, which is probably going to be 95% of the people watching this, I didn't do anything with my team because the game crashed. I put it on Twitter, at Total Stevo. Follow me for clips of the Bill and WWE Wrestling from 2011. But I put a screen record of what the fantasy football website was doing. So, my day started on Saturday, where when I go down to where I live, I choose to go to a gym which is, it's 45 minutes away. It's in Plymouth. Yeah, ironically, here's the irony, is that it feels like it's quicker going to there than it is to somewhere that's just down the road in London. That's one of the many reasons why I'm getting the fuck out of London, but anyhow. So, I went to the gym, come home, and it was approximately 11:15, something like that. And I'd seen that an alert had come up on my phone. Because I don't listen to YouTube. I don't ever have my mobile data on, so I just had a podcast playing. Back when, with Tyler Peters and Scottish Danny. So, I saw an alert from Jason. I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, as Basil Faulty says, oh, thank the Lord. Thank you, God. He was going live. I went, right, well, I'm going to listen in then. Again, I can't remember specifically what time it was, but it was roughly about 11:15, wasn't it, or whatever. So he'd been on for about 10 minutes, and I put his stream on while I was eating an omelette. And I'm not going to lie, I knew that I was going to be meeting my friends for an all-you-can-eat Chinese. So I'd already pre-warned them, look, today, as in Saturday, there's going to be some team news that's going to be coming out early where I need to find out what's going on. So if anybody's seen the film Knocked Up, there's a scene with Paul Rudd where he's with his mates playing fantasy football, but his wife doesn't know he plays fantasy football, and they're all like, what the fuck are you freaks doing and all this. It's hilarious. Go check it out. It's an hour too long, but it doesn't matter. But I was mentioning to these guys, like, there's a chance that, I hate going on my phone at any times, let alone when I'm in company. And I said, unfortunately, I need to kind of be near my phone to see what's going on with the football team. They have nothing. They have no idea what football even is. So, listening to Jason's stream, listened for about 45 minutes, and it was brilliant because Max was on. You had Vish on. There was Warfare that I was doing an impression of Warfare, actually. I'm not going to do it now. If I can think of an obscure impression of him or an off the cuff impression, I'll try and do it. But they were all on there, and it was a wonderful conversation. Like, Jason's in his element when he's on his own. I think he's fucking brilliant. And I'm just listening. It's like listening to a radio show, to be completely honest with you. And I've always said this about anything. Something's good when any mundane task you're doing seems to just disappear like that. And for me, listening in while eating food, an omelette, 6 eggs, will get you big, a banana, going at probably the only healthy food I ate while I was down there. Went upstairs, showered, listening into the stream and stuff, drying myself on, listening to the stream, all this nonsense, and it was just fucking brilliant. And I'm at this point, I'm thinking, well, I know what my transfers are. And I'll let you know what they were now. It was going to be Skamaka, Zaha, and Salah out. This is what the plan was going to be. 4, Akawangewangwu, where his name is for Nottingham Forest. Let me give him the respect that he deserves by giving him his real name. If I can bring up the website in front of me, which I won't be able to do. But him, the striker for Nottingham Forest, he did fuck all. You've then got Kevin De Bruyne, who got an assist, and Foden. Well, ironically, the funny thing is that because I was waiting on this team news, I actually was thinking, well, I'm actually going to bring in Foden. Sorry, I may bring in Cancelo for Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. By which point it got to, when did I leave for their house? So Awoniyi. Yeah, him. So, you are aware you're recording this? Yeah. So basically, if I knew Foden was going to start, he was going to come in for Zaha, and if he wasn't, I was going to get rid of Trent for Cancelo. So it gets to about, I think it was something like 12:15. By which point I'd left my house, got to my destination, and it was about 12:15. At this point, I'm not listening to the stream anymore. So I've listened to roughly an hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes, something like that, of Jason's stream. And again, really invested in hearing what the guys had to say. So Max is very good as well. Very, very good. So I, at this point, had then forgotten about football completely. Even though subconsciously I knew I need to find out this team news and I need to make those three transfers for him, because I had 2 free transfers for a -4. I want to do it, but I wasn't thinking anything about this at this point. I was just concentrating on my friends and connecting with them. So I told them both, I said, look, I need to make sure I know the team. So they kind of knew this already. So yeah, but of course my mind had gone from this point. So I drove up to the Chinese, and it was roughly by this point 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, yeah, because it was 1:30, wasn't it, the deadline? Yeah, it was 1:30 the deadline. So I know for fact that I went on my phone to check anything to do with team news, and there was nothing. So I thought, okay, fine, go and get my food and everything, and all this nonsense. It got to about 1:10, wasn't it? Yeah, it was about 1:10-ish, something like that. And essentially, I saw that this. In fact, I tell a lie. I saw something from Llama retweeted something from somebody that had in the past got team news correct and had said that Foden and Haaland were benched. That's right, because during my drive to where my friends live, I was thinking in the back of my head, why have nobody picked up on this tweet that Llama's retweeted? Because it said that Foden and Haaland don't start. So anyhow, it gets to about 1:15, whatever, and it's tips and tricks and all that, whatever his fucking name is. He says, Foden and Haaland are benched. And I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to do the transfers. And then all it was just server error. I put a tweet out at Turtle Stever. And I'm like, great, the game's crashed. The game has actually crashed. There's nothing I can do. The internet is... By the way, Jason joked about it, but it's true. So Jason made a point on his stream that where I live, in certain areas, it has black spots for the internet. Well, where I live is one of them. So to give you the most basic examples of what I mean, to upload in fact, you know those shitty little shorts that I put up? Well, for a 1 minute long video, that took, I think it was like 10 minutes. 10 minutes to upload. And by the way, that's with the phone by the router. Wi-Fi. You can fucking forget 4G. It ain't gonna move. So, and that's in where I specifically live. Now, ironically, the internet on 4G is better on Dartmoor. Think about that. It's better on Dartmoor than it is in my own home. But anyhow, so I was just thinking, well, I can't access the team or anything, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to lie, I was just frantically getting more and more fucking frustrated. Why the fuck isn't this working? And by this point, my friends were just kind of like eating their food, doing whatever, kind of like leaving me to my own devices. And I was genuinely getting a bit fucked off because I'm just like, oh, this is just so fucking typical. So I then knew, in fact, I was even thinking to myself about getting rid of Haaland, but I thought, no, I've got too much value in him as well. Because I was thinking actually maybe getting rid of Haaland for A1 Nia and bring him in and then bringing in Kevin De Bruyne for Zaha. And that's what another thought process was. So anyway, the game crashed, blah, blah, blah. I then took an epoxy screenshot. It took about what seemed like half an hour to upload a 10-second screen record to Twitter. And essentially, I just thought, whatever, done now, fuck off, don't care, haven't done any transfers. And then I then see also some notifications come through some WhatsApp messages come through Jason. And I just sent him a message, whatever I said. Something like, I haven't done my team. I don't even know what my team is. Ironically, I'm pretty certain I sent him a message saying, I think Salah's my captain. If fucking only. We'll get onto that in a minute. But essentially, I'm just thinking, great, fine, whatever. It gets to something like, I don't know, 4:15. And I'm like, oh yeah, the football, oh yeah. Fair point, may as well check what the scores are. What? Like, I was just looking at them like, 1-1? What the fuck is going on here? And by the way, the history predicted a tight game, 2-0, 2-0 to Man City. No joke. I think there's like been the last 6 matches between Fulham and Man City, 3 of them have ended like 2-0. But, yeah, 1-1, you had a 3-3, 2-2 with Brighton. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? And then I see, of course, and I'm like, oh, fucking hell, Burnley played as well. And went down at 5-2. What in the fuck is going on here? Like, so I then just turn it all off, and then at about 5:15, so an hour later, I looked at the final results and I see it was 2-1-2. And by the way, live score was taking forever to load up. So eventually, once it loaded up, I said 2-1. I'm thinking, right, I can't see Haaland's name. Whoa, 94th minute or whatever it was, Haaland penalty. I'm like, phew, lucky bastard. So I knew I was going out. I wasn't going out. I was going to be getting dinner for me and my mum, which never happened in the end, but it doesn't matter. Went home and it's like, right, let's get on the internet slightly quicker. Of course, by which point I see the final results, and then I go on to fantasy football. I immediately go to Jason's team, and I'm just like, here's the C word. So if you don't like the C word, I went cunt. Unfucking-leavable. He brought in Alvarez. Like, it takes the fuck... And what takes the fucking piss even more is that he got 3 bonus points. Any player that I bring in, even if they score the winning goal, I'm lucky to get a bonus point. Let alone this piece of fucking shit. if I could say that again, this piece of fucking shit that comes through with 1 goal and 3 bonus. But anyhow, so I'm thinking, fucking hell. And then I'm like, what other transfers did he do then? So I looked on his team, of course, and I see a -12, and I'm like, whoa, like, what the fuck is going on? A -12? And then I'm not going to lie, my then immediate thought process is, oh my God, I have got to watch the end or listen in to the end of Jason's stream. This is going to be something really, really special. And I looked at his team and I'm like, hold on a minute here. Who was his transfers then? So I looked at it and it was Zaha, Trent, Foden, Haaland out. And I'm thinking, are you feeling all right? Fucking hell. But he brought in Rashford, Cancelo, Salah and Alvarez. And then I'm thinking, actually, that's really, really, really good upgrades. Now, I'm thinking Rashford away at Aston Villa. Yeah, there's a possibility of attacking returns. Man United in good form at the moment. Cancelo home to Fulham, guaranteed clean sheet. Plus, at home, a couple of times he's got double. In fact, his only double-digit hauls have been at home against shit. Well, not the Fulham are shit, but you know what I mean. Not to the level of Man City anyway. So there's a chance of that. Salah, I don't know about Salah away at Tottenham, but to be fair, Jason was banging on about in the preview show that essentially he thinks that Salah could go off against Tottenham. I'm thinking, what are you smoking? And then Alvarez, I thought, Alvarez isn't such a bad pick, to be fair. Alvarez is a solid pick. I was going to say, if I kind of had all this information, blah, 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 which I technically did, would I have still gone Alvarez? No, I would have just stuck with my plan. But the irony is, of course, is that his -12, so Zaha, what was it, 11 points, or 12 points, Trent 2, Foden 1, Haaland 5 plus captain 10, versus Rashford 2, Cancelo -2, so we're at 0. Salah 10, 11 or 12, 15, and Alvarez 6, 21. So he's down, basically because of Zaha. Now moving forward with his team, his true dilemma is just the simple fact that he's got no Dalot. He has got Cancelo. I didn't realise Cancelo had 2 yellow cards. I didn't realise that. I thought it was a straight sending off. Again, I don't see anything. So, or was it a straight red? I don't know. Either way, he got sent off. And Jason said last night on the stream that he's hopeful that Cancelo should, because he serves his ban in the Carabao Cup or whatever it is. However, I thought that was for 2 yellows. I thought if it was a straight red, you get a 3-match ban. Or was that for violent conduct? Again, I don't really know the laws of the land. So let's just quickly find out now. It was a straight red. Was it like a denial of a goal scoring opportunity? Let me know in the comments below. Fucking hell. So he got a straight red, and I don't know whether he plays for City or not. In fact, why don't I just click on his information? How thick? So he must be back then. He must be back for the next game because he's not being flagged on here. Right, okay. So he's got no Dalot, so easily he can play Ben White against Wolves. So that's a 3-4-3. However, Alvarez, okay, there's a small possibility Alvarez does play against Brentford. But Haaland comes in, and if I'm in Jason's shoes, I just think personally, we'll talk about it on the preview, just hold the team as it is. Don't worry about Haaland, just captain De Bruyne, done. Just leave the team as it is, and then you're on to the wild card, and whatever will be, will be. But, yeah, so obviously, I didn't do the transfers, thought nothing of it, just completely FPL went out of my mind. And then Sunday comes around. Once again, I'm very, very busy. And it gets to 3:15. I come back home. And my mum's like, oh, talk here on the TV. And I went, oh, yeah, I forgot about that, yeah. And then I was like, oh, yeah, there's Premier League football on. So, of course, go on livescore.com. And it's like, Arsenal win 1-0. Surprise, surprise. But then my immediate return is brilliant. Of course, Saka with all the fucking players that gets the assists. Brilliant. Typical. But then I see Aston Villa were like, at the time, it was like 3-0 or 2-0 or something like this. And I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on. How? How the fuck are Aston Villa winning 3-1 against United? Again, it tells me more about United than it does Aston Villa. The icing on the fucking cake for me was these fucking tossers in Newcastle conceding a fucking goal in the 83rd, 84th, whatever fucking minute it was. And I'm just thinking, one of my very few differentials on Jason is made 3 saves during the match. He's on for potentially a bonus point, unlikely, but a bonus point. This is fantastic, and they go and fucking score. And I was just like, 4-1, brilliant. Unbelievable. My mood slightly changed with Zaha getting a goal and an assist, which is crazy. Again, tells me more about West Ham. I mean, that useless sack of shit in Skamaka is gone. He can get the fuck out of my team, full stop. Who was it? Max said it the other day. He hasn't been impressed with him. No. Impressed. Like, who did I mention on a members video the other week? Get on Ben Rama if you know for fact that he's going to be playing. I'll tell you what. Forget Almiron, even though he's in form at the moment. If you want a differential, you go with Ben Rama. He is on absolute fire at the moment for West Ham. Okay, he's got Leicester at home next. It's an okay fixture. But Arsenal away, terrible. But then we've got Brentford, Leeds, Wolves, Everton. For 5.5 million, isn't he? I don't see any issue with him whatsoever. But then we move on to the only game that I watched this weekend, which was Spurs versus Liverpool. And I was getting so frustrated watching Liverpool. They performed for the first 20 minutes. They were in complete control of that game. Absolute. I wouldn't go as far to say they were dominating it, but they were passing the ball fluidly around. It was just a case of, when are you going to score? Because Tottenham are looking absolutely hopeless. And Salah gets his goal. I'm not going to lie, I did cheer. I was very happy. Robertson was looking good, had all the space on the left-hand side. Darwin looked really, really good. Firmino, Jason, if you are going to get rid of anybody, it'd be him, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Yeah, Darwin looks, he's slow, but he looks, with his mind on it, he looks really, really, really edge screwed on. And, yeah, Salah popped up with a goal. Then there was a sticky patch in the halfway through the second half, at the 30th minute mark or whatever. All of us, it was like, because Liverpool scored, it was just like, you know when, it's going to be a really, 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 really weird analogy, but you know when, like, if you get punched or something and you're just like, oh, I thought you were going to hit me harder, but oh, is that it? All right, then I can do you over now. Well, it was kind of like when Liverpool scored, it was almost like Tottenham were like, oh, we can now burst into life now. And all of a sudden, Liverpool looked like they couldn't... They reminded me of Burnley. They couldn't pass a ball. Simple passes, they were fucking up. Trent Alexander-Arnold's defending. I mean, there should have been a penalty in that game. The one on, in my opinion, the one on Emerson Royal was probably the worst, when he literally just elbowed him over. I don't quite understand how that wasn't a penalty, but whatever. I can understand if they were both, you know, next to each other, shoulder barge here, shoulder barge there, and Trent Alexander-Arnold just uses his strength, but he doesn't. He just literally just pushes him over. I don't quite understand that one. But Trent looked terrible. Don't get me wrong, his passing ability is 10 out of 10. Defending, 3? As Tim says in the office. But I'm just like sitting there thinking, literally I've got no nails, just biting my nails like, when the fuck are Liverpool going to concede? When are Tottenham going to come back? And all of a sudden, out of the blue, just like that, Alisson boots the ball up. Dyer, well, he doesn't, he just heads it towards Salah. And I'm thinking, hold on a minute here, based on Salah's form of late, he's going to miss this. Beautiful finish. 2-0 half time. Now I knew that here we fucking go. Tottenham are going to come out at Liverpool next half, which they did. They really put Liverpool to the sword, in my opinion. But again, once Liverpool kind of faffed off their attack, it was almost like, oh, actually, yeah, it's not that bad, really. But I always knew they were going to score, especially the second Kulusevski came on. I just knew, it was just written in the stars that something was going to happen with him. And lo and behold, it did. Within, 2 minutes of him coming on? Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant finish from Kane. And again, I reckon Kane will probably end up scoring his highest Premier League goal-scoring tally in the history of his career. And yet, Haaland will have scored another 15 goals on top. That's how fucking mental Haaland is. But anyway, Kane seems to score with every shot on goal. At that point, I'm just like, oh, fuck off. There goes my other differentials, So it was Trent and Robertson versus Firmino and Darwin. Now, I was thinking that maybe Robertson could get something in that game because he was really... He wasn't as attacking as normal, but he was getting a lot of space. But once that goal went, I'm just like, unbelievable. But then, all I was then thinking of is, I'm just hoping Liverpool go on to win. Because Tottenham had a bit of momentum, but then again, their momentum just kind of like died off. And then it just kind of was like, it was almost like they had their openings and they didn't take it and that was it. So obviously they lose the game. And at this point, I'm like, right, how's this... Well, I didn't see any of this, how it's affected any of the leagues, other than I was just checking through, like, the... Because I always look at, like... Because it's just easier for me to see where Jason is. In the moderator league, I'm thinking, fucking hell, like, I've caught up on Jace. Like, it's... And then I was like, wait a minute, what have my other rivals done in the moderator league? Like Dread FPL and Firetog and Brew and Harbour Boy. And I'm thinking, fuck. Like, I've got differentials that have come above them and all this stuff. And I mean, I'm even caught up with Semi-Sweet Potato. I'm 10... So eventually, overall, I'm now 10 points behind Semi-Sweet Potato, which is just ludicrous. So I'll just put up the moderator chat lead just to give you context of this all here. So yeah, I'm 10 points behind Semi-Sweet Potato, but I'm 12 points behind Jace. Now, bearing in mind, it was only a few weeks ago that he was, what? A minimum of 30 points ahead. Something like that. And yeah, I'm a point ahead of Dread FPL. A few 10 points ahead of whatever it is, ahead of Harbour Boy. And the gap just gets bigger and bigger, and I'm just like, fucking hell, man! Like, this is just crazy. This is just absolutely fucking mad. And it's it's been one of these seasons so far where it's as if you'd have just left your team as it was, I'm sure some scientist has come out and said, well, if you'd have just gone with the template team from the start, Captain Haaland, you'd be at this rank. Yeah, fine, whatever. But it is true, though. I dismiss it, but it is true. Like, if we had just left our teams as they were and just stuck with Haaland, where would we be? You know, an individual who I will not name is having in their opinion, a terrible season, and it's got to the point where, again, I'm not going to name them, but they've said that they're going to delete their account, but I don't think they will. However, I think they'll have probably quit playing FPL this season. Now, I've messaged this person privately. Now, whether, ironically, I've told them to stay away from anything to do with FPL, including our content and Discord. But I've messaged them through Discord, and I've essentially said, look, for anybody, including me, that, and it goes completely full circle with what I was saying about with Call of Duty and stuff. If this game or anything in life is affecting your mental health and is essentially affecting you where you're not necessarily taken out on others, but it's affecting your other aspects of your life, step away. Genuinely, just step away. You know, I'm not going to be proclaiming to be an expert in the field of addictions or whatever, but certainly when it comes to fantasy football, this is just my thing. The easiest thing I do, even though I've done it anyway, is that I mute not just certain FPL accounts. I mute all of the FPL accounts that I follow. But in my case, I only follow 112 accounts, and of that, let's just say 25 are FPL related. Well, that's not difficult for me to mute 25 accounts, or of the 25 I follow, I probably mute 24, 23. Because I can't stand the Twitter Tourettes. To be completely blunt with you, I hate people that have Twitter Tourettes. And I can already hear you already thinking exactly who these people are. And yeah, you're right, that is exactly who I've muted. I've got nothing against them personally, but when it comes to their online behaviour, I have to mute them. Because I'm sick to fucking death of just seeing this constant spam of a news feed. It's just like, are you actually watching the game, or are you actually engaging with what you should be doing, or are you just more concentrating on Twitter? The answer is you're more concentrating on Twitter. And it's just a case of just back off. But anyway. But for people that are in this individual's case, or people that are out there that are just wanting to delete, quit, whatever you want to call it, FPL, the first step is to, without going down the AA route, and I'm sure there may be someone here that has actually legitimately had serious issues with alcohol, drug, whatever abuse, but the first thing is just to admit it. Admit you've got a problem, which is what I did with, we can all laugh about it, but it's true, with Call of Duty and with FPL. Like a few seasons ago, I remember when I literally messaged, no, did I message you, Jace? Did I message you, Dan? I can't remember now. I literally wrote, yeah, I did. I actually did message them. I just said, I am deleting my account. I can't play this game anymore. It is ridiculous. And I think I put words to the effect of, good luck with Elite FPL. Because, like with this person's case, everything is going against them. It doesn't matter what they do, the complete opposite happens. So we take this week as an example. Yeah, well, last week Salah was the best captaincy option. Does nothing. Does nothing. This week, when everybody's selling him or, by luck, are captaining him, by pure luck, he goes and gets 2 goals against Tottenham, a team who just don't lose at home. Now, whatever the analytics and the team patterns and structures and managerial tactics are for Tottenham, at the end of the day, they do very, very well at home. And they lost 2-1. And Salah scored 2 goals. And imagine if I had done those transfers. KDB in for Salah, Foden, whoever in, Cancelo in for Trent, and Aaron, where his fucking name is, in for Scamacca. Like, I don't think I'd be even sitting here doing this, to be honest. Well, I would be, but it'd be more, not necessarily ranty, but I'd just be more and more pissed off and just fucked off with the game. Because the difference with people that don't, quote, create things like this, content, or have to have an audience, as an individual said to me privately regarding my video in the graveyard, when they said words to the effect of, you don't need to explain yourself to the audience, don't feel the need to explain your actions to the audience. But unfortunately, when you're kind of in this world and you guys are invested in what me and Jason have to say, because it's like Gabriel de Rop said, it's one big story, you kind of feel the need to do it. This is why I do loads of members videos, to be honest with you, because I kind of use members videos as, what a great advertisement this is, as almost like a weekly, daily, whatever you want to call it, diary of me just venting my frustrations about whatever it may be, whether it is fantasy football, whether it is world goings on, or whatever's happening in my life. It's good to get things off your chest. But when you're doing it in front of a camera where there's, I mean, we're just small time. It's like Jason said about Andy, like, I just can't imagine what it's like being Andy, having 20, he didn't say this line, but I'll just add, having 20,000 people watching him, and they're relying on him to give them team news or whatever. And like in our case, it's like small time, but we're got such a small niche community that you guys are so invested in us as people that you want to hear our stories about whatever's going through our minds regarding our, whether it is fantasy football or work. I mean, that bit where Jason last night was playing the drums to Muse was fucking brilliant. I mean, I've been up this morning since 3 minutes to 2 in the morning, because I am not driving back home during the day to London, because it would take me probably 4.5, 5 hours. I'd rather just get here within exactly 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's how quick it took me to drive home today. You know. And I completely lost my track. Oh yeah, and when I was listening to Jason's stream, and time just, honestly, an hour, how long was it? 1 hour and 20 minutes? Gone, disappeared. Had some good callers on. And when he started talking about the drum setup, now I've told you, not specifically about this, but I tell Jason my opinions of his streams all the time here. But that bit where he started doing the drums and showing you guys on stream what he's doing, it just broke the stream up. Because, yeah, could I listen to Jason speak fantasy football like I did the other, literally on Saturday for an hour and a half about fantasy football? Obviously, yes, everybody can. But that small little breakup, it was just like, oh, this is an insight into this person's life. This is cool. This is interesting. But going back to the whole quitting FPL and various other things, it's, you've got to try and step away. And what I do when it comes to fantasy football, when I'm just like, I don't want to deal with any of this, is, apart from having to do this, obviously, is I mute all fantasy football content. I definitively do not listen to any fantasy football content. I don't engage with anything to do with fantasy football content. And if I have to do a stream, ironically, I feel better about it because I get to speak to Jason. And then you realise while you're doing the stream or while you're chatting, it's like, yeah, you're right, there's more to this. There's more to life than this game, and it's true. And I've said this 30,000 times. There are people in this community alone that fantasy football is their life. Which is fair enough. You know, there are things in my life which I am very, very, very passionate about. I mean, ironically, FPL is technically one of them, but because I've got other outlets in my life to pursue, I personally find it quite easy to just detach away from fantasy football and go on to, oh, I don't know. It's like Sophie says to Mark in Peep Show, you could do your history. But it's like with me, it's like, in fact, I actually had that moment at work a few weeks back. One of the women was essentially slagging off the former store manager and was and talking about another manager that worked there, and goes, but these people don't have a life. Their life is literally this place of work. That's all they have. Now, you could probably apply that to fantasy football. It's all you've got is fantasy football. But they were saying, like, all you've got in your life is work. So you become a very selfish individual and you don't have any empathy or sympathy or whatever. Usually it's empathy, isn't it? For the people that work isn't their life. You know, like her name's Susan. She was saying, you know, you've got family. You like to go out for meals, and then she comes to me and she goes, you know, she was like, you've got gym. The point I'm trying to get at is that, you know, I have got, like, the gym, even though it fucks me off going there. But anyway, the gym, I've got music. I did a podcast about my first gig in 3 years. If you want to check it out, at Total Stevo, Spotify. The music volume is down because I stupidly didn't have it high enough. But in all seriousness, it's like I have got other outlets. So blocking off fantasy football, it's like, yeah, it's quite easy for me. It's the same when it's this kind of similar to when it comes to me and my addiction with sugar, sweets, whatever, sweets specifically. I'm aware of what it does to me. Apart from my teeth getting completely destroyed, it badly affects my eczema around, to be honest with you, around my groin area. And it gets to the point where I'm literally like wanting to get a pair of scissors and rip my fucking legs to shreds. Because I've stupidly eaten sweets. But I try and I know this is easier said than done, but I try and put boundaries in place to stop myself from eating sweets. Like, I'm quite, within reason, I'm quite strong-willed. Like, I just go, no, Steve-O, just stop. What are you doing? I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's what I do. And I just go past the sweet section, buy my stuff, come home. And then once I've eaten something healthy, I feel good about myself. And then I don't think about sweets or anything like that. But, you know, like I say, with addictions to fantasy football and stuff, it's you've got to focus on something else in your life which you enjoy. I don't give a fuck what it is, but there's got to be something in your life that whereby you can go and forget about fantasy football. And this individual, I think this individual can forget about fantasy football. Yes, will it be in the back of their mind? Of course it will be. But genuinely, after this is what happens with me usually. After a few days of being away from FPL and not having to speak a single word about it, and because I'm got other aspects in my life I will talk about and stuff, I've genuinely forgotten everything about that weekend. I'm just like, right, restart. It's a refresh. Let's just do a members video, chat about my feelings, chat about my thought processes, and then just delve deep into various bits of information about what transfers I want to do. I already know what transfers I'm doing this week. Already know. Already locked in. Jason ain't going to like it. But the point being is that I've already got a plan in place about what I want to do. And I won't be doing anything until it's all depending on price rises, price changes, price downs, price ups, you know, winners. But I've already got a plan in place what I want to do. But ironically, again, it's the classic thing of, what if I just left my team as is and burned 2 free transfers again? Just leave the team as it is. Stick with Haaland captain, done. Move on into the wild card. Leave the team as it is, come out of it. But once you start getting, like I do, like with Jason, getting competitive with the fact that we're now 12, he's 12 points behind. And even with Dan, okay, Dan's kicking my ass at the moment. He's 37 points ahead of me. Kicking my ass. It's just small little steps. And as I keep saying, if it wasn't, yeah, I keep saying this, like, we all have every right to get pissed off at fantasy football. But as I keep saying, if you don't, to be completely blunt with you, when I think about what Suj and James say on Planet FPL, where they just simply say, at the end of the day, you've made the logical decisions, it's then completely out of your hands. Once you've hit the confirm button and then the deadline passes, it's then out of your hands. Like, I have no idea why this Skamaka came off after 45 minutes. Probably because he's a useless piece of shit, to be honest with you. And Antonio's a better player. For all I know, he got injured. But I'm telling you now, he is out of my team. That's something I can categorically tell you. You guys, right now, Skamaka is gone. But what's the other free transfer? Well, you'll have to wait and see. But Jason ain't going to be happy. But once you start making things slightly competitive and everything... Because again, I keep saying this line, sometimes I miss the days of just chatting with Jason about how I'm going to catch him up, and we have just a simple conversation between each other. It's why, like, I prefer doing this format here, videos, because I don't have anything to do with chat. In fact, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. So, what amazes me, when I did that short the other day about no one knows anything, and essentially, when I was listening into what Max had to say, and well done on that prediction, by the way, 2-2 between Nottingham Forest and Brentford. I did say in the car. Got that right. Wrong about Man City, though. But, yeah, it's what people were saying. Like, you had some people with, like, the logic thought processes, then it actually came through, i.e. Vish with Maddison. I don't know if Vish actually went with Maddison in the end, but Vish did call Maddison and said, I'd like to bring him in. What did Maddison do? Yep, you guessed it. 2 assists. You then had Jason saying about Salah. You then have the likes of Max saying, well, talking about Alvarez. And that if he gets him in fact, his quote to Jason is, if you're going to get Alvarez in, you've got to go balls to walls and captain him. Well, they both did. Don't get me wrong. Even though I was listening to it after the deadline, the chat about, oh my God, Jason's reactions were fucking incredible during that stream. Going apeshit about the game crashing. They were fucking wonderful. But yeah, but then you had people in the chat like saying, you have to keep Haaland. You cannot captain Salah. You mustn't captain Almiron. Warfare did. Jason got rid of Haaland. Max got rid of Haaland. What's stopping them? And this is the thing with like doing the live stream section, is that you do subconsciously think, maybe I should do what the chat's saying. this large amount of people watching, the general consensus is you cannot sell Haaland. Yeah, you're right, better not. What happens? Sell Haaland. And yeah, alright, Alvarez did what he did, but, you know, still came out on top. If it was just a straight swap, Haaland to Alvarez, just a straight swap, Alvarez comes out on top. Done. And when Wolf, it's like Jason says, I respect the fact that you are going to go Almiron captain, and he did. 8 points? Great. People literally in the chat were saying, don't do it. Still Captain Haaland. And by the way, if I'd have known, if I was able to access here's the funny thing as well, is like, if I was able to access the site, I would have captained Kevin De Bruyne. You know, again, it's all hindsight. If only I'd left the team as it was from the week before, Salah would have been my captain. I know Paul E captained him. So did various other people, and like that was just, again, it was just by pure chance that they captained him. Because that's the funny thing about fantasy football. If, for instance, Salah had blanked and did nothing, they would have gone, why did I captain him for? He's not even in form. This is when the luck, I'm not being funny, this is when the luck element comes in. Because Salah hasn't been in form, really. Let's get real here. Not against a team like Tottenham. And yet he pops up with 2 goals. But that's ifs, buts and maybes. At the end of the day, he came through with 2 goals. But yeah, I just thought that the whole of that deadline day was just absolutely fascinating. Oh yeah, I was very fortunate with Andreas obviously coming off the bench for Mitrovic as well. Ironically, taking the penalty. But yeah, I've got game week 16 coming up. Looking forward to then discussing that with Jason and maybe doing the odd members video here or there about it. But yeah, what I will say is that in a few minutes I'm going live on Chain Wrestling. So if you want to watch me live, then just type in SJP Media on YouTube. That's SJP Media on YouTube. World Media, in fact. SJP World Media, in fact. Let's just put it up on your screen here, so then you can actually see what I'm actually talking about. And then you can watch me live discussing the Royal Rumble 2000. It's 2000. Royal Rumble 2000. I essentially have just... there it is there. I've essentially ambushed Sai and Mags's... Oh, it's there. That's alright. I don't even need to make it big. You can just see it there. So yeah, SJP World Media. Go on their YouTube channel, and I'll be live with Chain Wrestling. That's up there, third on the, well, slap bang in the middle, isn't it? And we'll be discussing Royal Rumble 2000. I'll be watching that today, even though I've seen it 50,000 times. I'll be watching it today, putting notes down. So yeah, if you want to watch me live, you can do so. That's going live at 9 o'clock tonight. So that's going to be a late one for me, but anyway. Really looking forward to it. The podcast we did last week was absolutely outstanding. As ever, I continue the older streak of, yeah, we're only supposed to go for 2 hours. Yeah, I'm going to be on, which means that normally you're probably going to go on for an extra hour. Guess what? We went on for an extra hour. But it's 3 hours that just, if you're interested, you're interested. It just flies by. And yeah, just get involved with the chat if you want to come involved. What's the word? It's not bombard it, is it? It's gate crash. It's not even gate crash. I can't even remember the bloody word, but jump over there. Jump over there and say hello. And get involved with the non-wrestling topic. Non-wrestling topic this week is Ask Us Anything. So actually, if you want to ask us anything, jump on there and you'll be able to ask us 3 anything. But yeah, that's going live at 9 o'clock tonight. And other than that, what else can I talk about? Absolutely nothing. So yeah, I'll definitely see you guys, hopefully, in the chain wrestling stream. If not, members, you'll see me at some point this week, and me and Jason will be live on Friday at some point, but ironically, I've got to do a podcast after that. So it's all going to be based around that. But anyway, as ever, thanks for watching. If you want to hit the like button, support the show for free, hit the like button. If you want to support the show in a financial way and become a member, you can always hit the join button and become a member. If you are new around here and enjoy the content me and Jason do, you can hit the subscribe button if you want. Other than that, thanks very much. Catch you later.